it's Mary. I'm coming to you from Iris Message today because, as you know, half-bloods can not use technology. It attracts the monsters. And so I'm going to do a quick TED Talk with you today, maybe not quick, on why Disney needs to adapt Percy Jackson. You know, I'm probably not in the best outfit here. Do I look business ready now? First, I want to quickly go over my credentials. Why am I the best person to talk to Disney about why they need to adapt Percy Jackson? Well, one, I did a Disney college program, so I understand Disney decently. Plus, I'm a huge Disney fan, so maybe pretty well. I love Disney. Also, I obviously am a huge Percy Jackson fan. But why does that give me the right to talk in a business format why Disney needs to adapt Percy Jackson? Well, let me tell you. I have an associate's degree in business administration and a bachelor's degree in marketing. So I will be coming to you from a business point of view today. First things first, as always, is a target market. The Percy Jackson series is written for kids ages 8 to 14. It's a middle grade series. However, with your high readers and the people who still love amazing stories, no matter what age they're written for, we can make that 7 to 15. So, the Percy Jackson series, The Lightning Thief, came out in 2005. As it is 2020, that would be about 15 years old now. The series itself has been on the New York Times bestseller list for 10 years. This is a story that lasts and keeps lasting with Heroes of Olympus and keeps lasting with the Trials of Apollo. You have a lot to work with. And because it came out 15 years ago, with your oldest person who probably picked this up at the very beginning, back in 2005, was probably 15 years old. Plus the youngest person who would maybe pick it up today, which means you'd probably be reaching people ages 7 to 30. That is a huge range. And I know that you still need to make this show for kids ages 8 to 14. However, Avatar: The Last Airbender was super successful, and my dad loved it when he was in his 30s. And I think this is something that could rival that. Obviously, Disney, you are a business. As a business, your goal is to make a little moolah. However, you are also storytellers. I worked in the parks. Every little shop has its own story. You are storytellers, and you want stories that last, that inspire kids, and that can grow with your audience. And also bring people who are older back into their childhood. And because at Disney, it's okay to be a kid, even if you're not. This is a show that could definitely do that. This is an adaptation that would definitely work for that. So, of course, as a business major, I am well versed in the SWOT analysis. For those of you who are watching who don't know what a SWOT analysis is, it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats when talking about a business or a business endeavor. So let's talk strengths. Disney, you have the money to adapt something like this. You have the resources. You're an entertainment company. Not to mention, you own both the movie rights and are the publisher for the books. You want to know why that's good for you? Is that you've got it going cyclical here. The people who watch the show are going to want to read the books. The people who read the books are going to want to watch the show. That is a great option for you business-wise. Let's talk about your weaknesses. Percy Jackson is going to be a TV show that follows the Lightning Thief all the way through The Last Olympian. If you made every season one of the books, with each book having 20 to 23 chapters in it, and you did every chapter an episode. That would give you 5 seasons and 105 episodes. Your longest running show on the Disney Channel was Wizards of Waverly Place, at 4 seasons, 106 episodes, and 1 TV movie. And as cartoons go, you really like to stick to your 65 episode rule, which means that you maybe don't have the background in making something a television series, a cartoon series that lasts for this long. You have your sweet spot, and you're often anxious about getting out of that sweet spot. And I just have to say, this is something that you're going to have to take a chance on. If you think it's going to be successful for the 65 episodes, that's going to put you around book 3.5. So I think that you can push it. Plus, Avatar: The Last Airbender had 3 seasons, and Legend of Korra had 3 seasons, both very successful. I think that you can handle 5 seasons. Phineas and Ferb did really well, and then you still had Milo Murphy's Law, which I want more of, by the way. Not the time to talk about this. But yes, this is something that you maybe have not done at this large of a scale, but you have the resources and the talent and the ability to do so you just have to take that chance, that leap of faith. Your opportunities is that you have a huge fandom already rallying around this. It was trending for 2 months. Rick Riordan himself came out to talk to you about it. People make their own fan merchandise and love it. And I think that you guys could really monopolize on some merchandise as well. You could make a ton of money on Orange Camp Half-Blood t-shirts alone. This is my second of these. I wore my other one to rags. Not to mention plastic riptide swords with a hidden pin compartment, or a necklace, a beaded necklace that the characters wear, and every bead has a design for the biggest event that happened that summer. And so you could have like a package of the ones that the characters wear with some that are blank for the kids to paint and create themselves. And you have characters in this, a storyline in this, that are inspirational, that connect with the audience, and that grow with the audience. Your threat is going to be not pulling it off well, which you can avoid by hiring people who are passionate about this, who grew up with the series, who love the series, and to maybe hire like a book thumper. So every time somebody's like, you know what? I think we should make Percy Jackson a vampire. No, not in the book. Easy. Of course, the book thumper should probably carry a paperback because the hardback probably caused some actual damage. And again, your strengths are so high. Your opportunities for this are so high. Your weakness is still pretty darn low. And your threat is just that the fandom's going to cancel on you, like they did with the movies that shall not be named. But there's a reason why those movies got canceled on. They were horrible. And they didn't follow the storyline. Follow the storyline. Do the simple things like giving Annabeth blonde hair and making the kids the correct age. I went online and on my phone and I typed in cartoons with amazing storylines. Of the shows that were listed, only 3 of them were from Disney. You had Kim Possible, you had Gargoyles, and you had Gravity Falls. They also mentioned Star Wars The Clone Wars, but that did start on Cartoon Network before Disney bought out Lucasfilm. I think we could add to this. I think we can make this list so much better when it comes to cartoon storylines. You know what? Star vs. the Forces of Evil might have been on there too. Still, that is not a lot compared to the others. And if you think about it, each of the other children's networks, PBS, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network, all have shows that last, that keep coming back year after year after year. Cartoon Network has Scooby-Doo since like the 70s. And every time one show ends, a new adaptation shows up. Nickelodeon has Blue's Clues. I think it's in like its 4th rendition now. And Arthur's been going on since 1997 on PBS. Disney, your cartoons aren't making as big of an impact. Your characters aren't growing with your audience. And maybe you've taken some of your old shows like DuckTales and have readapted it for a new generation. But there is still a really large gap there. And I think that Percy Jackson is something that can fix that. So now I want to talk to you about why this story is valuable. Because you invest in stories, not just in money. And you invest in kids and your audience. Well, these characters are super relatable. The demigods have ADHD and dyslexia. Together, it's a certain sign that they're a demigod. The dyslexia is because their brain is hardwired for ancient Greek. And their ADHD is their battlefield skills. It's what keeps them alive, especially with all those monster attacks. And I can think of a few times where you've really tried to talk about different disabilities. Andy Mack, you had TJ, who had that form of dyslexia that was with numbers. And that lasted maybe, 2 or 3 episodes? And then you had like 2 or 3 episodes with the deaf girl. And then, let's see, I think Shake It Up is the only other one that I can think of off the top of my head, where for a single episode, I don't think it was ever brought up again, the Cece had dyslexia and conquered it through dance. She had the little genius boy tutoring her. And that's something that people struggle with their whole life. That's not something that you just one day, oh, I've overcome this. This is a show where you can really put these disabilities, I guess, for lack of a better word, into a character and continually show them working on it. And this is also something that makes them that hero. So it makes them feel special. The things that make you different make you stronger. I think there's several instances just in the show where you could have the words like, in the first book, they go visit Auntie M's Garden of Emporium. And Percy and Annabeth can't read it. Grover has to show them what it is because they both have dyslexia, even though Annabeth loves to read. And then there's times where they visit something that has words in Greek, and all of a sudden it shifts around and it's in English and they can read it. I think that'd be a really great way to show your creativity. They have characters who have huge dreams. Annabeth wants to be an architect. That is a STEM profession. And with you being so big on Girls Who Code right now, I think that this is a great way to still expand on that. Not to mention, you have characters who are so angry at the world and have to get through it. You have so many different family dynamics that you don't normally show. And you also have people who are fighting for what they believe in. Whether or not they are doing the right thing for the wrong reasons or the wrong thing for the right reasons. I want to talk about parents for a second. This story has so many parents because there's so many different family dynamics. And all of the gods are like the godly parent and the earthly parent, which my parents, their number one complaint about these kids shows is that, oh my gosh, all the parents look like buffoons, especially the father figure. And this one has so many different kinds of parents that so many people can relate to, and you've got both sides. In Kim Possible, you actually had good parent representation. The mom's the brain surgeon and the dad's the rocket scientist, and she actually asks them for help, and sometimes they get in trouble and sometimes they embarrass her, but they were so well developed and loving and supportive, and it was a really great, they were really great parent characters. Here you've got Smelly Gabe, who everybody hates. You've got the loving and wise Sally Jackson. She's very clever. You've got Annabeth's redeemable father. You've got Luke's mother, which is a whole story unto itself. You've got the crazy loving, not loving, mad, super, like, you have the gods who are displayed in so many different lights that you could just follow that even. They've got their own drama going on. And then you have the step-parents. You have Annabeth's evil stepmom, and you have Professor Paul Blofus, which I think Percy calls Blowfish, who in like the fourth book, is in a relationship with Percy's mom Sally, and he is loving and supportive. You have so many different family dynamics to cover here. It's an amazing way for you to branch out. And of course you have Chiron, the wise centaur, who's training all of these campers. There's a learning aspect to Percy Jackson. Disney, you always have a moral of the story. You always want your audience to learn something or feel like they came away with something. And sometimes you do really great, and sometimes it falls short, but you try. And if you want something like that, then Percy Jackson is a great way to go. I aced my Odyssey lesson freshman year of high school because of the Percy Jackson series. Because I had learned the stories in a unique, fun way, and I understood what the monsters did and how their names were pronounced, and the differences between the different gods and goddesses. It was a huge thing for me, and it made me excited to learn about it. Not that I've never not been excited about learning, but Percy Jackson is one way that a lot of kids get into reading again, or stories, or retellings, and it's a huge way to do this. Plus, if you put it on film, the kids who have such strong dyslexia that they can't get through it, and don't have the access to the audiobook, or maybe have too much ADHD to sit through the audiobook, has a way to still get this amazing, important story. It's inspiring to kids who are struggling with these things and who are dreaming big like Annabeth. It has something for both boys and girls, action and adventure, and a heartfelt story. I want to talk about your creative aspect. Obviously, I think that you should do it in a cartoon. There are so many reasons why you should do it in a cartoon. One, look at all this fandom art. We have some really talented people on our fandom. You could literally look at the fandom art and be like, ooh, I could do something similar to this. And I think that it would be something that people would like. Or you can come up with your own animation design, of course, following what the characters look like, because Annabeth has to be blonde. She cannot break the dumb blonde joke barrier without her being blonde. As a cartoon, you won't have to worry about the immortal teenagers, the Huntresses of Artemis. While your characters are supposed to grow up, you're also going to have them that stay the same age, and that can be very hard to do in a live-action adaptation. Also, you won't have to spend as much money on the CGI because of it's just the powers are shown through the cartoon. It's all the same format. Also, you won't have to worry about child labor laws because you'll be able to hire adult voice actors to voice the characters, and you won't have to worry about them looking the part either. They just have to sound the part. As long as the character's design in the cartoon looks the part. There's this amazing adaptation of the Percy Jackson series called the Lightning Theif Musical. I love it. I listen to it all the time. The musical was my Spotify wrap-up, let's be honest. And the music is definitely something that you guys can do as a show that the books don't have. It does mention that there's a campfire song that the campers sing. And I was always curious, what would that look like? Go listen to the campfire song in the musical. That's what it looks like, and it's hilarious. So snarky, just like Percy Jackson. He's a little snarky. You could have an awesome theme song, or you could do the whole Avatar: The Last Airbender thing, where they have like introduction. She's like earth, fire, water, air. Long ago, the nations lived together in harmony. But then the Fire Nation attacked. I used to have it all memorized. But now, you could have Percy coming on and doing this first paragraph here, and he goes, "Look, I didn't want to be a half-blood. If you're reading this because you think you might be one, my advice is close this book right now. Believe whatever lie your mom and dad told you about your birth and try to live a normal life." So instead, you could do, "Look, I didn't want to be a half-blood. If you're reading it, if you're watching this because you think you might be one, my advice is turn the show off right now. Break the fourth wall. Do it. Believe whatever lie your mom and dad told you about your birth and try to live a normal life. Being a half-blood is dangerous. It gets you killed and it's scary. And most of the time it gets you killed in painful, nasty ways. If you're a normal kid watching this because you think it's fiction, great. Read on. Watch on. I envy you for being able to believe that none of this ever happened. But if you recognize yourself in this, you feel something stirring inside, stop watching immediately. You might be one of us. And once you know it, it's only a matter of time before they sense it too, and they'll come for you. Don't say I didn't warn you." And then the show. Which is funny, because the musical does the same thing. At the opening song, they're like, "Well, if you think you are a half-blood, better get headed to the exits now." And I think that's awesome. I about died because I was like, they broke the fourth wall. And you can totally do that in this. Finally, there's this amazing series that comes after Percy Jackson called Heroes of Olympus. It has even more representation than the original series does, and it comes right after it. Now, you don't have to say, "Oh, we're going to adapt it." Just say you get through seasons 1 and 2, and you're doing well, and you think, this is something that people are going to want. This is going to be something that people are going to say is successful. And we can continue this with the Heroes of Olympus. Well, then you have even more creative freedom. You see, the Heroes of Olympus series has a lot of backstory, plot points, with not a lot of detail about where these other campers were. The Camp Jupiter kids are. And it starts in book 3. So in season 3, you can start hinting at it. And then automatically start having your new merchandise, your purple Camp Jupiter t-shirts, the temporary SPQR tattoos, that kind of thing. And people would love it. And it would be a great segue into what comes next. As you've been able to tell, our fandom, our half-bloods, are die-hard fans of so many different ages. We're creative. We have skills. And this is something that we want to happen so much that on our own, without any prompting, we got the hashtag Disney Adapt Percy Jackson trending for like 2 months. And Rick Riordan himself came to see you about this, which is crazy because Uncle Rick doesn't involve himself in adaptations because he wants to keep his idea of what the characters are pure in his head. He doesn't want them to get distorted, which is honorable and valuable, and we respect him for it. But he also loves us enough as his fans to come and ask you about this, to talk to you about this and discuss it with you. And obviously it's something that you're thinking about. So I think I've given you a lot of really good reasons why this could work. And I bet you have a lot of fans out there who'd be willing to help you with this project. Like myself. And I think this project, by its end, could earn you a lot of drachma. I don't know if you can hear this. Probably not. But I hear some monsters coming, so I've got to go. So please think about this, and if you get this message, share it with your friends, help people get to see this more. I love you guys. Oh, I gotta go. Bye!